Welcome to the Books Between Friends podcast.
3 lifelong friends,
one shared obsession.
Books.
From epic fantasy to page-turning thrillers.
We dive into the stories we love
And the ones we just can't stop talking about.
So take a seat,
Grab a drink,
and get cozy.
All right, welcome back, book friends. How are you guys doing? How was your weekend? For me, I'm trying to think back to this weekend. We just had another chill weekend where we did nothing. Spent some time at the pool on Saturday, hung out
Yay.
around the house on Sunday.
More pool days.
Yeah, nothing but like reading and chilling.
Nice.
What about you guys? We saw a good documentary. Have you guys heard of? Yeah, and this is on Netflix. Have y'all heard of the documentary A Mother's Instinct?
Okay.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
I was just about to say, somebody at work
You
today
guys.
just recommended that to me. They're like, you need to
My-
watch this, Jen.
But
My
like,
brother-in-law recommended it. Yeah.
prepare yourselves. It's a true crime documentary, but like the crime is like bone chilling. I don't know if you've heard of the story, but it's about this girl who faked a pregnancy.
Yes.
And she ended up
Yes.
doing something horrible at the end.
I saw, okay, so I've been seeing things about that on social media, and there was like pictures of her with like maternity pictures. And
Mhm.
then today my coworker brought it up. She was like, oh, it's about this thing. I'm like, oh, I've been seeing about that. I've been seeing like stuff about that. So I'm really interested. I want to kind of watch that this
Okay.
weekend.
I went in blind, so I had no idea what it was about. And so I was really, I guess, shocked at the end by what happened. But
Yeah, I
so
don't
just
know.
prepare yourself.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Okay, yeah, I don't know the ending. I just know that there's pictures of her like pregnant.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
She fully pretended to be pregnant for
Jeez.
10 months, actually.
Anytime I heard people describing this documentary, when my brother-in-law was describing it to me because he recommended it, I immediately thought of like a storyline from Glee where Mr. Schuster's wife fakes her pregnancy,
Oh
and
my God.
that show was so unhinged. But
Yeah.
it immediately made me think of that.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So definitely recommend if you're into true crime documentaries, check that one out.
I do love a good true
Definitely
crime.
will. Yep.
Okay, this week has been absolutely crazy. I am so, like, words cannot describe my relief that the move is over.
Yay.
Y'all, I
Are you okay?
I am not okay. Okay, yesterday, I just, like, Nick and I both were just dead.
I'm
Like,
sure.
absolutely gone. And so we were supposed to record yesterday, which I'm glad that we didn't, because I would not have been in any kind of state.
Huh.
So
Okay.
the day before was when move out day occurred.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to this. This, like, you can't even make this up. So
Gosh.
those of you that are moving, and if you've never done a move by yourself before and you think you're going to save a couple of bucks here to not hire movers or packers, budget for it, okay?
It's not
Unless
worth
you were
it,
just
yeah.
like highly trained professionals and you've done a move or two at a time in your life.
Mhm.
It's highly recommended. Budget for it, because, and if you are doing it and your budgeting is just not a thing, don't save the kitchen for the last, like I did.
Oh no, what happened?
That it was just awful, because you don't realize just how many individual things are in your kitchen,
Yeah.
and heavy cookware is in your kitchen.
Yeah.
And so it was just awful. And so I'm very glad it's done. My sister and brother-in-law came in clutch, so shout out to Jessica and Ryan,
Aw.
because they came in. Jessica somehow knew that I was in distress and texted me. She's like, "Hey, just checking in." I was like, "I'm not doing okay. I'm not doing okay at all."
Sister.
Yeah.
She is. So she came over.
Props
Ryan
to
had
her.
come over earlier in the day to help move like a lot of my heavy furniture that was still
Mhm.
there in the bedroom and the living room, and so we got that done. And then they came. The person that was supposed to take my couch backed out, and so
No.
my couch is not light, it's heavy. And
No.
so my Jessica and Ryan agreed to like let it stay in their garage for a little while, just so
Nice.
it couldn't be in the apartment.
Yeah.
And then they came back to help like move things out of the kitchen, and it, like, we were there until midnight that night.
No.
Wow.
And, you know, my new place is in Fort Worth, an hour away. And so
Yeah.
we drove back to the house an hour away. And I was like, son of a bitch. My envelope that the apartments gave me to return my keys is at the new place. And so I had to go there. And it's 1 o'clock in the morning now. I had to go back.
Oh my God.
And it's now 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And had to fill out the envelope, turn in my keys. And I was like, okay, surely there's some kind of Dropbox, because I can't be the only one that's moved out after hours. There is no Dropbox. So I drove there for no reason.
No.
It's now 3 o'clock in the morning. Had to drive back. It's now 4 o'clock in the morning.
No way.
Yeah, it was just a nightmare. It was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
So I message on my resident portal because I still have access to it. Say, hey, I tried to drop off my keys. There's no Dropbox. Can I just drop them off tomorrow? And they were not gracious about it. I was like, what do you expect?
No.
Yeah, they were not. They were rude.
That's not cool.
No, I was like,
heck?
I've been a faithful resident. You have not heard one peep from me in the 3 years that I've been here. So I'm just so glad that it's over. And
so did you have to
for
return them
movers.
today, I guess? Yeah.
Yesterday, because that was the day after move out day.
The next day. Okay.
Yeah, so I returned them yesterday, and I was like, I'm washing my hands of this place. I don't want anything else to do with.
So you've been
Glad
I'm
that's
assuming,
behind y'all.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm assuming you've been resting.
I am so sore. My arms are
Oh my
like
God.
all bruised up on both.
No.
Yeah.
It was an ordeal that I never wish to repeat.
Oh gosh.
Totally valid.
So lessons learned. You'll definitely need budget for movers next time you move.
Absolutely. And packers. I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, packing's a
Let 'em
nightmare. I
handle
hate
it.
packing so much.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I become ruthless. I just start throwing everything out and then down the line regret it all, but it's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. The mantra is trash. Yeah.
Yeah. Just trash it all. Just start over.
Well, I'm sorry that you had such a terrible moving experience. I am glad to hear that you have been resting, though, now that it's all over.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whew. Well, for me, this past weekend, I got back from a work conference. It was all week. And it's really funny because I texted Stephanie the day I was leaving. I'm like, I am not going out at all this week. I already told my team that I'm going to only have one team dinner with them. I'm going to stay in my hotel. I went out every night.
Hey.
You know what's so funny is you texted me that first day that y'all showed up, and I was like, yeah, right. In my head, I knew that wasn't gonna happen.
So the first night I get there, I go out to dinner and with like two of my coworkers, and then after dinner, I go and meet up with my other two coworkers for a drink. And then the day after, the Spurs were playing, and so we're in San Antonio, so we got to go watch the Spurs, right?
Yeah.
So we go find
Of
a bar
course.
and go watch the Spurs play. Actually, hold on. Watch the Spurs lose. And then the day after,
womp.
we had our team dinner at a steakhouse. So like it wasn't mandatory, but it was something we had already planned like ahead of time.
Mhm.
So I literally going out every single night that I was there. So I was exhausted by the time I got home because it was like long day full of sessions plus still going out and interacting with people. And then
Mhm.
Friday, I had a doctor appointment at 3:15 and I left
Yeah.
San Antonio at 2 o'clock. It took me 2.5 hours to get home and then go to my appointment. I was done, y'all. I was like so done. And then Saturday, of course, I'm like, I still have to go get groceries if I want to eat for the next few days. I still have to go do this. And
Darn that
Sunday
eating.
was my only day. I know, it's like I have to eat, right?
Life does not pause.
No. And then Sunday was basically my only day to rest, and that was not enough. Like this week has been so busy and I've just been so tired. I haven't gotten as much reading done as I wanted to, but I did soft DNF Game Changer for now. I just could not get back into it. I know. I just couldn't get back into it. I don't know what
Dang.
it was. I know. Soft DNF. That means I will go back to it. But on other news, I did finish book 5 of DCC. Holy crap, y'all. I started book 6 this morning on the audiobook. I'm just like, oh, this is so good. Y'all. This is so good.
Yeah. I'm almost done with book 4. You texted me. I just finished book 5 with like sad face crying emoji. And I was like, listen, there needs to be no sad faces. Okay? I
took
will
them
not
off. I
stand
took
for
them
sad
off.
faces.
I took off all the sad faces, so it didn't happen.
Oh, no.
Sad
I
because
don't
it's
want
over,
it.
not sad because it was a sad ending.
Exactly. Right, Stephanie? She got me.
Totally. That's what I'm going to believe. Oh my God.
Right, so let's go ahead and start our third episode
Yay.
of The Hero of Ages.
Ye-
But before we dive in, I'm gonna let Jen give us a quick spoiler warning.
All right, you guys, before we get started, if you are listening to this episode, we're assuming that you have read through chapter 50 of The Hero of Ages because there will be spoilers throughout our discussion today. So if you haven't had a chance to read the first 50 chapters, please be sure to go and finish them, then come back and join our discussion. And if you have been loving our book chats, you guys, we would really appreciate it if you left us a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It helps more book lovers find us and keeps our little book community growing. Plus, we love hearing what you guys think and what you love about our show, or maybe don't love. And we would love to give you a shout out on our next episode.
Please, thank you. Okay, so to start off, I'm going to read you guys a quick summary of this section so we know where we're at. So outside Fadrex City, Ellen's siege grows increasingly difficult. Food shortages, unrest in Luthadel, and divisions among his soldiers force him to make impossible decisions. Vin learns from Human that the secret to creating more Kolos is Hemalurgy. With this knowledge, they begin connecting the dots between Kolos, Kandra, and Steel Inquisitors, realizing that all three were created using Hemalurgy and may be vulnerable to Ruin's influence. While investigating Fadrex City, Vin discovers that Yeoman may know more than he's letting on. During a second ball at the Ministry building, she sneaks into the final storage cache, only to find herself trapped inside. There, she encounters one of the most important revelations of the series. The voice of Reen she's been hearing in her head for years was actually Ruin. Ruin reveals that he has been manipulating her for years, posing as the voice of her brother and influencing her actions long before she released him at the Well of Ascension. After a few days of being trapped, Ellen's friend Teldon visits her and gives her no other choice but to drink a poisoned wine so that she would fall asleep and they could transfer her safely. Meanwhile, in Urtu, Spook fully steps into the spotlight. Guided by the voice of Kelsier, he uncovers Quellian's hypocrisy, learns that the executions are being manipulated, and begins building a rebellion. As the rumors of the survivor of the flames continue to evolve, Sazed and Breeze begin wondering if something else has happened to Spook. Spook crafts a plan to turn the people against Quellian and position himself as a symbol of hope for the city. Sazed continues struggling with faith and purpose, but his role in Spook's plan leads him back to studying from his metal mines, reminding him of his passion for learning. After studying his metal mines on engineering, he devises a way to restore the water in Urtu's canals, giving the group a potential tool for winning over the city's people. After escaping the Kandra, Tensoon travels to where he buried Orosor's blessing of potency, and we learn that the blessings the Lord Ruler gave the Kandra were made using 2 Hemalurgic spikes. Tensoon absorbs Orosor's blessing into his body, making himself one of the most powerful Kandra alive with both the blessings of awareness and potency. Determined to fulfill the first contract, he sets out to find and aid Vin. And Marsh continues acting as Ruin's servant while biding his time for the perfect moment to strike against him. In one particularly chilling moment, he sneaks into Penrod's bedchamber in Luthadel and spikes him in the chest, giving Ruin direct influence over Penrod. We also learn from Marsh's inner dialogue that Ruin has been trying to do the same to Elend without success, and that the other Inquisitors are searching throughout the Empire for something that Ruin desperately wants. By the end of this section, Vin is imprisoned, Elend's position is becoming increasingly desperate, Spook is emerging as an unlikely revolutionary, and Ruin's plans are accelerating. As the mysteries surrounding Hemalurgy and Ruin become clearer, it's obvious the heroes are running out of time.
These chapters were so bleak, man.
Yeah, they
I
don't
know.
paint a very nice picture.
No, I'm
Yeah,
like, can we
the stakes just keep
please?
rising and rising.
Yes. I'm like, can we please have something good go, like something go well? I cannot
Yeah.
with all these like things happening to them. I just can't.
It's a lot, y'all. I know. Well, with that, let's go ahead and hop into our discussion portion of this episode. So, just to remind you all, we are going to do what we call a 3-2-1 structure, where we each share 3 things that stood out to us, 2 character moments, and then 1 theory and or prediction. So, starting with our 3, Ethan, why don't you kick us off?
Okay, so a lot of reveals in this section. A lot of reveals, I feel like. But one that I think had a lot of reveals in and of itself was just Hemalurgy in general.
Yeah.
And Hemalurgy is so interesting. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Most definitely. It's described as parasitic, but it is highly interesting. One of the epigraphs mentioned that it's so complex that the Lord Ruler in his 1,000-year reign was only able to find 3 different successful applications of Hemalurgy, and that included the Inquisitors, the Colossus, and the Kandra. The implication being, are there other possibilities of what's possible with Hemalurgy? And then another epigraph, it may have been the same epigraph, it was the same epigraph, it mentioned that in the short time that Rorschach held the power, he was able to find out these implications for Hemalurgy as well. Meaning, if someone holds the power for longer, is more going to be revealed to them? I don't know. Like, the possibility seemed endless to me. What did y'all make of Hemalurgy in this section? Because there's a lot to it.
Yeah, like you said, we got a ton of reveals here, and I kind of think, like, I was going back to what you said, and maybe our last episode or the one before, where you were like, can we trust all of these nuggets of truth that are being released, right? But it seems to be that they're holding true. These things are happening, and it's kind of, we're kind of getting that confirmation as we're reading through these chapters. I see it as such a negative thing that I don't know that it should be exploited anymore. Like, I think this is something that we need to figure out, especially like what Ellen is doing on how to reverse this, because it seems to be taking a lot of sacrifice.
That's true.
I hope that it doesn't continue, and I hope it doesn't have any implications that it's going to be used for something better later. I don't know if that's what you meant.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I mean, because to your point, it does take a lot of sacrifice because, like, so many people have to die in order for Inquisitors to get their spikes, right? Like each spike represents basically like one death, of someone. And so, like, that's huge.
What?
Yeah, the chapter where Marsh described how he was made, where the woman was lying on top of him, I was just like, oh my God, stop. I don't want to hear about this. Like, this is crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
Just the first one,
Terrifying.
I know. And he had to have all the metals like pounded into him, basically, right?
Yeah. So they get 1 spike for every metal. So that's
crazy.
1 person per spike, I guess. Yeah. It's nuts. But yeah, it's creepy that's how Ruin, I guess, like, controls the Inquisitors and the Colossus and possibly the Kandra.
Yeah.
And like all these revelations are kind of helping to connect the dots of, what's going on across the Empire with like all our different characters, right? And like crazy to also reveal that it's been influencing Vin this whole time, like even before she, like, we even were introduced to the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
no. Which that brings me something else, but I'll mention that later because that whole thing is really interesting when we get that scene with her and Reen. But more to come on that later.
Yeah,
of course.
Also, hello, we're talking about the Colossus here, and the Kandra and the Inquisitors. The Colossus, we get the reveal.
That was
finally.
Crazy too.
Yeah, that was crazy.
How are they made?
And I even wrote in my notes, holy crap, like we originally thought, especially Jen, right? I mentioned Jen mentioned this several times, that human is in fact human, right? They don't have children because Colossus are made from existing human beings.
That's crazy.
Mind blown here.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it was obviously more than meets the eye. We all suspected, but to actually get the reveal of how, and Vin was influencing human over his emotions to make him reveal how Colossus are made.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's not right. And she's like, well, hello, this is the first time we're getting an inkling of you having values, like what right versus wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dive into more of that. And so she latched onto it immediately and like, well, what makes it not right? Show me. And that's when she did more influencing, and he kind of freaked out a little bit, similar to how Tin Soon freaked
She
out.
rioted
Yeah.
him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she infiltrated his mind a little bit, and then he immediately went into camp to the infirmary tent and tried to do the process. And then she stopped her right before. She's like, "You were about to make him a Koloss, weren't you?" And he was like, "Yeah, I am human."
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you, we
Like
are
I've been telling you
human.
this whole time. And it takes 5 men, right? 5 men to make one Koloss.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I can't remember if it was 4 or 5, but like multiple people for sure. Yeah.
And but then I don't understand where the growth comes from. Like, how do you start off so small and then grow so big if you're 5 human men put into one person? Like, that doesn't make sense to me still. Does that get explained?
Yeah, it hasn't been
Okay.
explained.
Great answer. So yeah, no,
But good
I thought
point.
that was crazy though. Like as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, where's my tabs? Here.
Yeah.
This was a good point.
Tab that. Yeah.
Yeah, good reveal.
And then I also thought it was interesting. You remember, I think it was in an epigraph that it mentioned the Koloss after the Lord Ruler passed.
They were supposed to die.
They started, they started reusing the spikes from the Koloss that were dying
Yeah.
to make new ones. So I guess before the Lord Ruler died, if the Koloss died, he would just create more spikes to create more of them. But like in that epigraph, it mentioned maybe the reuse of spikes was like weakening the hold that the Lord Ruler had over them. And so maybe that was why they were kind of becoming a little bit more sentient than it was previously thought that they were.
Right.
Yeah, because he thought that they would just kill each other off, after he would be
Right,
gone.
yeah.
But
He just figured that would,
he
take
didn't
care of
realize
itself.
that they would evolve and actually learn on how to become, a bigger population. Like that was
And
crazy.
to regenerate themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right. And then my last point here that I wanted to point out is there something more to why Quellion is taking Mistings or noble people? Is he also in service to Ruin as well? Do they need these bodies for other nefarious purposes? If Ruin's control and influence really is as vast as the epigraphs make it seem, then I think that could be the case. It seems like Ruin may have generals, both intentionally or unsuspecting generals.
Yeah.
And I definitely get the sense, like, every big battle that Vin and Elend are facing right now is because of Ruin.
Yeah.
Right.
And so both metaphysical and actual, like in person, face to face.
Yeah. Well, I think with the reveal of what happened to Penrod and that they've been trying to do this to Elend, we have to suspect everyone.
Yeah.
So I think
Everyone.
Yeah, I think you're right to suspect Quellion of maybe being in control by Ruin. We don't know if he's been spiked, but it's possible. Yeah, I think everyone needs to come under suspicion at this point now that we know this.
Yeah. I
It's
was
like
just
the
gonna say,
collars and
you
throne of
probably
glass.
are right. Oh my
Yeah.
God, yes. I'm telling
Yeah.
y'all. I was thinking about that in one of our episodes where I mentioned, I was like, it's like Dorian.
It's like the collars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Dorian. I'm actually wearing my Dorian shirt again. I feel like I'm always wearing
Naturally.
it. Of course. He's my boo. Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't even think about what he is. I didn't even think about that, Ethan, honestly. Like, to be honest, like, I was obviously just focusing on the people that were revealed to be under his control. Like, I didn't even think to start thinking, like, who else could be under their control. I mean, that's kind of leading into my point, so I'll just go ahead and start. But, like, we obviously are seeing all these connections with these voices, right? Now we know it's Ruin. Now we know it's his influence, I totally called it on the Zane thing about having that spike. I was like, there's a reason why I saw that spike on him. And it's because he was being controlled by Ruin, right? So this has been going on for a while, even before he was released, right? And then obviously there was a reveal about Ben. And so now this kind of, solidifies what Ethan said in our last episode, where he said, could Kelsier's voice be Ruin? And he was right. This is what's happening. So
ding, ding, ding. You got it.
You got it. I was like, dang, Ethan called it. So yeah, that was like a huge, huge, huge reveal here. What was I
I remember when you said that last time, Ethan, I was like, don't say anything, don't react, because you were spot on.
Base.
Yeah.
That's a good call, though. It's a good call. Okay, here's where I was going with all of these rambling. Where is Vin's spike, right? So obviously Zane.
That's the
Great
question.
question.
Yes. Okay. I think I know maybe. So Zane
Okay.
obviously had it, coming out of his back. Spook, we know how he got his. Penrod, we know how he got his. I think Vin's is the earring that she's been wearing.
Is the earring?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. She refuses to take it off. It's like the only medal that she
Mhm.
has. She got it from her mom. This whole mom thing keeps coming up, and I'm like, that would be the only thing plausible that I see, because I don't, she doesn't talk about anything else being inside her except for that medal.
Yeah.
She never carries any medal, she says. So I'm like, it
Yeah.
has to come from the earring, right?
Yeah, that's
It's a good call.
immediately what I thought too.
And you remember, it sounds like Reen, I mean, she doesn't have a memory of this. This all came, like through Reen's explanation of what happened to her as a child. And I guess they had a younger sister, remember, that their mom apparently unalived.
Yeah.
And then she was acting crazy and pierced Vin's ear. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I mean, I think that's a good through line or like connection that you guys are making there.
And because it's so small, maybe that's why his hold on her isn't as strong, because she fights it. Like, she fights his voices.
Yeah.
She fights whenever she hears him. And I mean, unfortunately, it did end up, leading her right where he wanted her. And, this happened. But I don't think his hold on her is as strong as the others, like, because
Yeah.
she has lost faith in Reen. Whereas Spook has, he's holding a lot of faith in Kelsier, really thinking it is
Right.
Kelsier. So
Yeah.
like, I think
Yeah.
that's what's helping too with the whole, mind control thing.
Mhm.
But there's just a lot going on, and it's very bleak. And I already started this book with a sense of hopelessness, and this is not helping. And I just feel for them, and I want to cry because I'm just like,
I
please.
know.
Well, too, in one of the epigraphs, it mentions in those last days, it says that phrase in particular. I'm like, well, that doesn't help things either. Like, we already feel like it's crap.
Yeah.
And then the epigraph says, in those last days when this and this were happening. I'm like, okay.
So,
Implying
okay.
that we know where this is going.
Yeah, I'm telling
Yeah.
you, I had that bleak thought. I'm like, everybody's just gonna
Yeah.
die. Like, this is what's gonna happen. I don't know. Okay, so that was my first point. The huge reveal on the voices. I'm like, that, okay,
Mhm.
makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
And then the second one is on Yeoman's manipulation leading to Vin's capture, you guys. Like,
Gosh.
holy crap. So when this happened, when she was trapped, I
Mhm.
literally almost threw my book, but since I don't like messing them up, I didn't. And I was just like, why? Like, how did he turn out to be so smart? I did not see this plot twist coming. Like, there's a lot of things that we've been
Yeah.
trying to pick up and trying to guess, and this one I did not see coming. I really thought that Ellen was to the point where he was going to be able to like outwit him. Clearly, I
Mhm.
was wrong. Clearly, they were able to outwit two Mistborn, and they captured poor freaking Vin. So I don't know. I don't even know what else to say, because like, I'm really upset about that. And the reveal too that he's Mistborn as well, because he was burning adium whenever Ellen was. I mean, was that really confirmed?
I mean, we know he was burning adium, which
Yes.
suggests
Adium.
that he should be Mistborn, right?
Okay. So maybe he also has a spike, because these spikes are apparently giving these people.
I mean, we have to suspect everyone, as
Yeah.
we just talked about, right? So possibly.
Okay, so we've never come across a misting that can only burn adium.
True, we
Could
have
he
it.
be a misting? And that's why
I
he
mean-
was so confused when Ellen was burning whatever metal
Is
is
it bronze?
It's alloy.
The alloy that makes you immune to
That's
adium.
right,
I forgot
yes.
what it's called,
Yeah.
but yeah, they found it in one of the caches, or the percentages that you have to mix to get
To
it.
mix to make it.
Mhm.
Well, I'm kind of convinced that he has the stash of adium. Like, I think that
He
I think
seems to
that-
be flaunting it, and
Yeah.
we still don't know where his like immense wealth comes from. So
Right.
I
I
like-
need
all signs point towards him having
yeah,
it.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
know we talked about this in our last episode, where we're like, how is that going to be helpful? Well, maybe that's going to like give glimpses of the future about like what Ruin is doing, and they could like anticipate what he's going to do next, maybe.
Like if you can burn enough of it.
Maybe, yeah. Because I mean, it's a huge stash. Like Vin
Mhm.
is like determined that there's something that it's going to help them with, and
Yeah,
it's not
or
going to
like
help them get
maybe
money.
burning it with what's that one metal that makes you like burn
Oh,
through all your
dur-
metal?
Duralumin.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe if you mix it with that, possibly.
Maybe she can see what Miss is, or what Ruin is doing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Okay.
Interesting.
So that was my second point. My third one is on Cezed. He seems to be almost coming out of his depression. And I think I
Come
mentioned
on,
it,
Yeah.
Cezed.
right?
Come on.
I mentioned it, what, like our first episode where I'm like, I wonder what's going to snap him out of the depression, the grief, right? And so it happened to be Spook.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to see more of OG Cezed in these chapters, and I'm so here for it. In chapter 41, after it was revealed that there was the survivor of the flame, aka Spook.
Love it.
That was so
Love it.
Yeah.
funny, yeah. It made Cezed think
We have
about
a mini
religion.
Kelsier.
I know, seriously. He always wanted to be Kelsier, so here we go.
Yeah, he always looked up to him.
Yeah.
So
So this made Cezed think about religion in a different way, and this is what he said to Breeze and Alrienne after talking about this being like an evolution of the survivor, which is the legend that Kelsier started. He said,
right.
I wonder what the future of this will be. Perhaps there will be a succession of survivors for this people. This could be the foundation of a religion with true lasting potential, since it could reinvent itself to suit the needs of the populace. Of course, new survivors means new leaders, each one with different opinions. Rather than a line of priests who promote orthodoxy, each new survivor would seek to establish himself as distinct from those he succeeded. It can make for numerous factions and divisions in the body of worshippers. And I was thinking about how he's basically creating this religion, right? And I was
Yeah.
thinking about the lost, like, terrorist religion. I'm like, could that just mean that they have the capability of creating their own religion, kind of like what Cezed is doing, because they are the keepers
Mhm.
of the not like the keepers of the knowledge, you know?
Yeah. Or like was Kelsier not the first survivor? You know,
True.
like
Yeah,
could it have been, someone else in the terrorist religion?
true.
I read this part of, about Cezed. It made me think like, he's coming back to himself. Like this is kind of sparking, his passion and like helping him, like you said, kind of pull himself out of his depression. And then especially when Spook had him study his metal mines again, he just, like that's when he's in his element, And so hopefully he continues to just like get back to himself again and like not like stay in the depression. Like obviously we know he's still grieving, but we have to find a way to move on.
I think the whole storyline with Cezed can sometimes come across as a red herring and be trying to throw us off. But I do think that there's probably more to it. Like I was saying in the last episode, I think there's more to it. And he keeps on hinting at the idea of like, I only have like 50 religions left to go
Yeah,
through.
right.
And I kind of don't want to, because I don't really want to find out what I suspect to be true. I was like, keep going. I think there's something there. Like, don't just stop now. Like,
Yeah.
keep on going,
Yeah.
please. I don't know that, like you said, it could be nothing, but it really could be something, and it could be the answer that we're all looking for. Plus 10 soon,
Yeah,
whatever
who
he has
knows?
to offer.
He was barely there. He was barely there in these chapters, but
Yeah.
Soon.
yeah.
Yeah, I think there was only a couple of chapters from him and they were like short.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
But he
I mean,
plays into
yeah,
my
I
theory,
think you're
so-
right. There's okay.
Yeah.
There's definitely something more with Cezed and his study of all the religions, and it's like his passion. So obviously he can't just let that go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so on to my three things. The first thing I wanted to talk about is the Mistfallen. So Demue was one of the 300 or so who got sick after being exposed to the mist from Ellen's army. And the rest of the army started calling them the Mistfallen.
So
and
stupid.
they believe that they're being punished by the survivor by getting sick from the mist. And so this is what is causing the tension between the Mistfallen and the rest of the army. And that escalated to a point where Ellen ultimately decided to send Demue and the rest of the Mistfallen back to Luthadel to help Penrod take back control of the city, or at least like it's kind of like two birds, one stone. Penrod had asked for this help, and Elend wasn't going to do that because they need as many of the soldiers as they can at the siege, but because it was causing all of this friction within the ranks, he just decided it's best you guys just head out. But at one point, I don't know if you guys noticed this, that Elend started to think, well, like this idea that the Mistfallen are being punished by the survivor, what if it's the opposite? So this is a line from his like inner dialogue. He thought to himself, Demure was one of the strongest believers in the camp. What of the others who had been sick as long as he? Had they perhaps been men of extreme faith as well? But then he didn't get to finish that line of thought because at that moment that attack from yeomen started, and so that battle happened.
Yeah.
Like Demure is the guy who actually convinced Ellen to like pledge himself along with the religion of the survivor, right? And then he also, remember when Vin was following people around to see who the potential Khandra was in the Well of Ascension, when she followed Demure, he was actually going out into the city to like preach about the survivor.
Yeah.
So he's really devout to the religion, and so like it doesn't really make sense in my opinion either that because he was Mistfallen that he's being punished by the survivor. But just Ellen didn't have a chance to come back to that thought. What did you guys think of that?
Yeah, I actually thought the same thing. So I was like, it's Ruin punishing the ones who have the strongest faith because he is trying to cause, chaos within Ellen's army, because he's obviously targeting everything to disrupt Ellen's plans, right? He targeted Penrod, he targeted Spook, who's over there, Urto, as I said it right, Urto?
Yeah.
He's targeting all the things that he knows will ruin Ellen's plan. So it was revealed that, he didn't have enough power when he was in the well or when he was like trapped, right? So he was like obviously affecting things that he could, which are the Mist. So now we know that he's connected to the Mist, and that he's targeting a certain amount of people each time. And it would make sense to target the ones that have the strongest faith, because as we've seen, the whole theme of faith here is like when people start losing their faith, it creates a lot more chaos within the populace, Yeah,
that's a great point.
Yeah. I'm going to save my thought on that because that actually is my theory later on.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll put a pin in that one. And then my second thing is on Ellen's feelings about the Mist. So Ellen feels more positively towards the Mist, similarly actually to how Vin used to feel about the Mist. Like, and they don't seem to be like keeping away from Elend like they are more recently with Vin lately. So here's what he was thinking to himself about the Mist at one point. This is when he was thinking about Vin being captured by yeomen. He thought, yeah, Ellen found it hard to distrust the Mist. They just felt right. How could they be his enemy? They spun, swirling around him slightly as he burned metals, like leaves spinning in a playful wind.
Could this go along with my previous theory about the fact that like Vin wears black, so she's kind of influenced by Ruin, which we obviously found out she has been influenced by Ruin.
Yeah.
And that Ellen's always wearing white, so maybe he's being influenced by preservation, or like he is of preservation. Like there's a connection there. We just don't know what it is yet. So maybe that could do, and then we talked about the hero of ages, and I always thought that Ellen was the hero of ages, not Ben. So could that play into it somehow? When I read that, that's what I thought about my other theory. Obviously, I don't know if it's true or not yet. So
okay. Ethan, it looks like you've got some thoughts. Let's hear them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just with us talking in this episode, and because like you, Jen, I immediately latched onto the idea of the earring, and we know that the Mist has acted differently towards her in the past, and she has been without her earring at some point in time. Do those times coincide where she's been without her earring?
Okay.
Because if she has her earring, she might be at whims of Ruin. Ruin can influence her and talk to her. But what if she takes the earring out? Will the Mist feel more friendly towards her?
Was she wearing the earring when she fought the Lord Ruler? Did she take it out because she
I
knew
can't
she was going to be
remember.
fighting him? Because remember, she tries to wear no medals on her when she knows she's
Right.
fighting like a Mistborn.
But
Mhm.
she likes to wear her earring because remember, one of the first lessons that Kelsier taught her was that you like allomancers can't influence metals that are like inside of you. So like because hers is pierced through her skin,
I think if
allomancers
we go
shouldn't be able
back,
to influence it.
yeah, I think if we go back, Ethan, and go back to when she fought the Lord Ruler, I think that if we found that out, it might actually support your theory.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
there
we'd have
was
to
a
go back
time.
for sure.
Yeah, there was a time because I remember someone gave like, "Hey, this is yours," and gave her
Hmm.
back her earring. So we know that
Mm,
Yeah,
she's been without it for a time.
right.
okay,
Yeah.
that could be it. I like where your mind is going.
Yeah, yeah. So my last thing was what else did the Lord Ruler not say on that last plaque?
Yeah,
So, Vin has been stuck in this storage cache for a few days now. So long that and there's like no light. So she actually had to basically like feel the ridges on the plaque to read it. And the last line
crazy.
of what he wrote on the plaque implies that there's more that he isn't saying. The
Hmm.
line is, know that the thing's power is not complete. Fortunately, I have hidden its body well. That's it. That's the last line.
Where is it?
Obviously, he didn't want to write it out so that Ruin wouldn't know and find
Right.
out. But like, what
Hmm.
is it and where is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no other storage cache, so like, it's not going to be on one of the plaques. What do you guys think?
So it has to be somebody that wasn't there stories about, I guess, like the people before the Lord Ruler. Who were they? Is it the terrorist people that were like the original people? I don't remember. I don't remember if this is a thing. I'm just making things up. But obviously it was a person because if it hit its body, then it was a person. So,
Hmm.
right now it's like entity or whatever, or soul is the one that's like floating out there. So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm curious to find out who it is and where the body is because like he knows everything. I mean, and the only thing that Ruin can't infiltrate is your mind. So if he hid it
right.
somewhere, he would have found it by now, right?
I mean,
Yeah, I don't
well, like the
I don't
Lord
know what to make of
Ruler
this.
says he hid it. And so he didn't want to like put it out there, like write it on a plaque or anything like that. So,
Right.
but who knows?
Big
And
reveal
then to
later.
your question, maybe. But to your question about like the people before the Lord Ruler, so they obviously mentioned the Terrarsmen,
Mm-hmm.
leading up to the Lord Ruler's ascension.
Mm-hmm.
And like the prophecy, I think stated that the hero would be someone from like that was a Terrarsman, but Alendi was not a Terrarsman. I don't know if they like named exactly like a society that he came from or something like
Yeah.
that, but he was just not a Terrarsman. And remember, I think Rashek hated him because he always thought like it should be a Terrarsman because it's our
Right.
religion, it's our prophecy.
Yeah.
But I don't know that there was like really a name to them specifically.
I'm sure a lot of these answers are in book one. We just don't even
Yeah,
know.
we just forgot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because a lot of these things like are connecting back to questions we had from book one. So it's like
True. Yeah.
starting
Yeah,
to
that's true.
finally connect. So I'm like, I bet if we read some of those early like epigraphs, it might be in there somewhere. I
We'd
don't
be
know.
able to connect some of these dots. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know if I'm that smart. We'll see.
Okay, so that concludes our 3 things that stuck out to us. So now we're going to talk about 2 character moments. Ethan, you want to kick us off?
Sure. Elend is my first. Okay.
Okay.
So Ellen, specifically the moment where they're outside of the city that they're sieging, and
Hmm.
they all have this moment. This is after Vin figures out how Kolos are made.
Hmm.
And the question is, well, we know that spikes are the common thread here,
Right.
and that Kolos and Khandra have a weakness. And if
Mhm.
Kolos have spikes, hey, so do Inquisitors. So would that also imply that Inquisitors have a weakness. Besides, I was like, is this more than
Right.
just like the metal spike in the center of their back that you pull out? Like, is there another kind of weakness here? I think there's more than meets the eye here. What did y'all think of this? Because it leads me to suspect that there's something else that can control the Inquisitors.
Well, this makes me think of I can't remember if it was in our first episode or last episode where we talked about the Inquisitors having more spikes now than before when the Lord Ruler was around. The Lord Ruler would only give them a set amount of spikes, and he kept that center spike on their back as like a weakness to prevent them from basically turning against him, right? But like now they're getting all of these spikes, and we just talked about spikes allowing ruin to, influence you. And like if there's more metal in you, does ruin get more influence over you? So is that the weakness,
So are you thinking that if Ruin is able to control the Inquisitors, then maybe Ellen and Vin can also do that? I mean, they're able to control the Khandra and the Koloss.
Potentially.
That's what I thought.
With
So like
with enough allomancy, maybe if they can like
that's
I
kind of
don't
what
know,
I
maybe
thought.
like combine forces.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was thinking the same thing. Like as soon as Ellen started talking about that, I'm like, is this like a spark of hope where we're like, because I mean, these Inquisitors are killing people and obviously doing Ruin's dirty work, right? So if there's a
Right,
way
right.
to stop them, then there's going to be a way to kind of slow down Ruin without him getting so much power. So
Right.
Yeah, and
To
then
me, that
we
was
get
hope.
the
Mm-hmm.
right, same here, and we get the reveal too with Marcia's internal thoughts that the Inquisitors, yes, they're wreaking havoc, but they also have a job to do of what Ruin is sending them out to do. And I got the sense that he's sending them out to find his body as well. So they're on the search for his body too. Plus, the idea of like, plus the little line that the Lord Ruler put in on that last plaque, like, where is it?
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, it's just a lot up in the air as far as Inquisitors go. So my second idea, or my second character moment, is preservation. Or I should I say lack of character moment is
Yeah.
preservation.
Like hello.
Because hello, where are you? Hello. So where are they? Ruin is doing a lot.
Mhm.
A lot.
Right.
He's doing the most, you might say. But
Right.
preservation, I'm assuming
Nowhere to be found.
I would think
I don't know.
the Mist Spirit could have been preservation,
Yeah.
but she hasn't seen the Mist Spirit in a while. Maybe it's
Yeah.
because she put her earring back in. So
True.
Mm-hmm.
if we're going with that previous theory.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Where is preservation? I need them to make a peep,
Do we
Yeah.
think, and here's just a random thought that I thought about as we were talking, do we think that maybe preservation is somehow tied to faith? Like the idea of like people's beliefs and faith, like maybe growing preservation's presence? Because right now we're seeing a lot of chaos happen. So is that bringing about Ruin's presence more because there's more chaos and that's feeding into his power maybe? And the lack of faith, maybe because there's not a lot of faith, there's not a lot of strong belief right now. Could that be why preservation is not as strong? But I was just thinking about like Ruin is attached to everything terrible and preservation would be attached to things that are good, right? Like hope and faith. So because there's not a lot of that right now, is that why preservation is not around? And maybe that's why Ruin is targeting all of the people with strong faith.
Yeah.
I don't
Or
know.
like there's also this idea of balance throughout. Like I think the whole series, but especially in this book, it gets brought up a lot. And so like are things unbalanced now because Ruin is now free
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
and that's weakening preservation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, y'all know. Okay, so my nerdiness is coming out even more right now. And one of my favorite series, we should all know by now, is the Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
the sequel series to that is The Legend of Korra. And you find out how the first Avatar was created.
Okay.
And it's also a very heavy storyline about balance.
Okay.
And there's a light spirit and then there's a dark spirit, and every 1,000 years you have the harmonic convergence, and those two spirits duke it out to see who's going to reign over the next 1,000 years.
That's interesting.
And so
Okay.
this feels a little bit like that too. Like now
Very
that Ruin has
similar.
been let out of the
Yeah.
bag,
Mm-hmm.
is that
Do
does
we
that
get 1,000
automatically
years
put
of Ruin?
does that automatically put preservation on the back burner because ruin is now
Mhm.
more prevalent, and maybe
Yeah.
that's why we're like similar to what you were saying. Is that why we're not
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
of preservation?
It's
Good
funny
point.
how similar it is because also the Lord Ruler's ascension was 1,000 years before Vin's. So, I don't know, maybe that's a good thought.
That's crazy. More on the balancing later because that is like included into my theory. So I'll see what
Okay.
you guys think about that.
Put a pin in it.
Yeah. Okay. So my first character moment is hello, Spook.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, for
Yes.
sure.
holy crap. Wow. Like, I know he's being manipulated by Ruin, and that's causing a lot of his false bravado. But man,
Uh-huh.
like, he had some pretty great chapters in this section. Like, I was actually
Yeah,
liking the Spook chapters. I mean, not that I wasn't before, but he just had a lot of really
sure.
great moments.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one came in chapter 41 when he saved the little girl from the fire, and the way he just like jumped out of that window and basically was like showing
Crazy.
himself as his like vigilante or whatever with the cape and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then later, again in chapter 46, when he walked in to talk to Breeze and say said, and basically just starts like demanding things, right? He was just
Yeah.
like, this is what he told them. We have little time for chatter, Breeze. Emperor Venture wants Erto, and we're going to deliver it to him. I need you to start spreading rumors in the city. And then he just starts like giving all these like demands, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I was just like, okay, Spook, like, who are you? And what happened to this, like, poor, timid kid who had a crush on Vin, right?
I know.
But honestly, like, his plan is kind of genius. Again, I know it's Ruin kind of pulling the strings here, but it's still pretty genius. Like, he wants to expose Quillian on his lies and basically replace him with himself as someone for the people to believe in and follow next. So I was like, oh shit, okay, you think highly of
Yeah.
yourself here. Okay. And then later again in chapter 49, when he takes Beldra hostage after she foolishly walks into their hideout. And, it's just
So
like,
naive.
right? She was like, please don't kill my brother. And he was like, we're going to take you, right? Like, we're going to kidnap
Yeah.
you. Like, we're going to hold you hostage.
Like, obviously, you just delivered yourself to us.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So besides just causing chaos, like why do we think Ruin is helping Spook and the others take Orto? Or do we think he's leading him into a trap and just like trying to kill them all off? Like I can see this going both ways. Like it could just be straight up chaos. Like he just wants everybody to, be fighting and there be
Yeah.
this constant like back and forth, or is he leading him into a trap that he knows that maybe he can't fight Quillian and this is just like giving him that false bravado, like I said?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, both options would serve his purpose, wouldn't they? Like,
True.
if it's a trap, we still have chaos. If it's not, we still have instability and chaos.
Yeah.
So it like the more instability Ruin can cause, the better for his purposes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or could it be something more practical, like quote unquote practical? Because a big part of his plan is water usage. And if Ruin's main goal is to end things, a quick way to do that would be getting rid of their clean water supply. And if he's putting it back out into the canals
Yeah.
where it's exposed to all the ash, they no longer
The
have clean
ash,
water
yeah.
anymore. And that's that whole
Mhm.
storage
True.
cache purpose.
Yeah.
Like each cache has their specialty, and that one in particular was clean water.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that could be something.
I mean, just causing
Yeah.
chaos.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just causing
No
ruin.
matter
and
which way it
chaos.
goes.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so that was my first point. That was my first character moment. My second one is on Breeze. Like, I absolutely love
I just
Breeze
love
in these
him.
chapters. Like, I know, I love him so
Yeah.
much.
How did
Not
he become the
only
voice of
does-
reason here?
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
For Zed.
Yeah. So not only does he give us a much needed reprieve from all the devastation with his comedy, but he's also being a really good friend to Zed, like you guys said. Especially right now when Zed really needs someone, right? So in chapter 49, I love what he said to Zed when, he was starting to get really excited about using his metal mines again and like excited about studying. He said, a man is what he has passion about. I found that if you give up what you want most for what you think you should want more, you'll just end up miserable. Then Zed says, and if what I want isn't what society needs, sometimes we are required to do what we don't enjoy. This is a simple fact of life, I think. And then Breeze responds with, I don't worry about that. I only do what I'm good at. In my case, that's making other people do things that I don't want to. It all fits together in the end. So it's just like he made me laugh, but he's also giving like really great advice to Zayzed, like
Yeah.
trying to help him claw his way out of this depression even more, right? Because like he's starting to see a spark in Zayzed. He's like, I'm going to use that, and I'm going to tell him that it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to like these things, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And it is helping, you know, like Sazed doesn't think it's going to help, but like it's obviously getting his mind working again on like helping the cause, and like sparking his joy, sparking his passion again, which is what he needs.
Yeah. I did love these Breeze moments, but I want to hop back to Spook for just 1 second and talk
Okay.
about Beldra. I'm still not convinced about Beldra. I'm still not convinced. Because we have had an unsuspecting female in every book, right? Like the female spy that really duped Vin at the parties in book 1.
Mm-hmm.
We had Alrianne in book 2.
Mm-hmm.
Beldra could be that in book 3 because she may not be as naive as possible. And so she is now the inside person with them.
True.
Getting
For
some
Quillian,
information
maybe?
that she and that she could relay, or maybe she's also part of Ruin's plan and she's getting, but not that Ruin would need that because he's already attached to Spook.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. I'm still not convinced. She could be incredibly naive, but I don't know. My eye's still on her for some reason.
She could be a really
I think
great
that's valid.
actress. Yeah.
Yeah. We already know that, you know, you can't underestimate anyone in this story, and we already talked about how we need to suspect everyone of Ruin's influence at this point. So yeah, I think that's a fair assessment of her. Like,
I don't trust Brandon Sanderson to give us like actual truths here.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I don't trust him. So
Totally
like
valid.
I think you're right,
Yeah.
Ethan. Those were my
funny.
2 character moments.
Okay, so my first one is Marsh. Honestly, I'm just feeling for him, you guys, because like every now and then we get glimpses that Marsh is still there. And you know, it's just making me feel so bad for him. It must be so hard to just sit back and let Ruin lead him to do all of these horrible things while waiting for a good moment to strike back, you know, because he's like committing atrocities.
Yeah.
And he's just like just holding on. Like it's got to really do something to you to just have to do that. But a moment that really made me like sit with this feeling for him is when he was back in Luthadel, and his inner dialogue about it just really got to me. He thought, even so, seeing the magnificent city, sprawling, dirty, yet still home, was hard for the watching, waiting part of Marsh. Once he had run the Ska rebellion in the city. He felt responsible for its occupants and thought of Ruin doing to them what he'd done to the people of the other town, the one where the ash mount had blown. There was no ash mount that close to Luthadel. Unfortunately, there were things Ruin could do to a city that didn't involve natural forces. On his way to Luthadel, Marsh had stopped at no fewer than 4 villages where he had quietly killed the men guarding their food stores, then set fire to the buildings that contained them. So, you know, like, he's obviously still in there, and he obviously cares about the Ska and wants, you know, the best for them. But he's like doing these awful things to them, you know, honestly causing destruction and famine, and it's just got to be awful. Like I don't have much more to say than like this is the character, in my opinion, that is like going through it the worst right now.
Yeah. When I felt like that sense of hopelessness when Vin was trapped, I was feeling it even more during this, when he was like, I had to destroy all those food stores, like everything that Ellen's people, or really just the people, are depending on, right? It's not even Ellen's people, like just everybody for survival. And he's taking that all away from them. And I'm just like, there's just like no hope, you guys. Like I'm starting to really lose hope that they're going to come out of this.
Yeah.
I know. Marsh is just going through it, and he can only latch on to these brief moments where Ruin's eye is not on him, which makes me think of like Lord of the Rings 2, The Eye of Sauron.
Yeah.
I just had a brain lap. The Eye of Sauron. Yeah.
Eye of Sauron. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
that's my favorite series ever. But so yeah, it makes me feel like the Eye of Sauron is not on him right now, and so he can breathe for just a moment, even though he's still faced with all this death. And yeah, it's just it's tough. Marsh is in a pickle, and I feel for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. And like, what can he do? You know, he's mentioned, I think, a couple times now that he's the most powerful Inquisitor because he has the most spikes. But like, what is he going to do? Like, what is his plan? And obviously he can't like voice it because then Ruin will know.
I know.
Because he has the most spikes, is he gonna provide the answer for control that Vin and Elend are looking for? Like, could that be his moment where he gets to shine?
Maybe.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And we know that Stephanie knows, so I'm just like
I'm like looking at her reaction.
she is really good. She's so good. Yeah, she's so good. So when I love to watch these, you know, obviously like on my TV when our episodes come out, and I'll put it on YouTube, and I'm always watching Stephanie's reactions. I'm like,
Decoding.
but you're so good. Like you
watching
keep such
closely.
a straight face. Yeah. Kudos to you. Because I could never.
Okay. So my second thing is like, I just want to give Elend his flowers yet again. Like,
Yes.
what a guy, you know?
I love him.
And his leadership. So when him and Set were talking about the raids on the villages around Fadrex, they weren't going well. And so Ellen asked Seth if he thought that he was a bad leader. And he said, yes, that he...
That was
but
funny.
that he had, yeah, I know, but that he had one thing going for him that he never did. And he said, the people like you, your soldiers trust you, and they know you have too kind of a heart for your own good. You have a strange effect on them. Lads such as those, they should have been eager to rob villages, no matter how impoverished, especially considering how on edge our men are and how many fights there have been in the camp. Yet they didn't. How one of the groups felt so sorry for the villagers that they stayed for a few days to help water their fields and do some repairs on their homes.
So sweet.
So the raids weren't going well because the soldiers just felt too bad for the villages that barely had any food, and they were just leaving them alone instead because they didn't want to make things worse for them, and in fact actually helping them out a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, this just warms my heart because that is right, you know, like in an army, when, you know, soldiers are sent to raid and pillage, like why wouldn't they do that, you know?
Yeah.
And they were on orders to do that. But it just warms my heart because everyone is in a desperate situation, you know, but because Ellen is such a good man, he's like influencing his own soldiers to be good people.
I
so
know.
I thought that was pretty powerful, you know,
I
like
love that.
when that's the impact you have on people, like that says so much about your character, you know?
Yeah, because you're inspiring greatness, you know, like you're inspiring that greatness out of other people, which is so amazing to see because he's still doing that, even though he's very much struggling with his like internal thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, and we get to see that. I think Sanderson really depicts that so beautifully because there's the moment where the messenger comes in and say, hey, Luthadil's in trouble. You know, you were expecting resources to come from Luthadel. I'm so sorry to tell you that they're not coming. Plus,
we need some too.
Yeah.
We need some.
Resources.
And Luthadel is chaos right now.
Yeah.
So, you know, good luck here, but also send help, you know.
Right.
And he has that moment where he just has that outburst.
Yeah.
And which is so real.
I know. Yeah.
But then he quickly reins it back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love him so much, y'all. He reminds me of Dorian. Like, his character is very much like Dorian's character, right? Y'all can tell how much I love Dorian.
Obviously, you bring him up, like, I think in every
Dorian
book that we discuss.
Fangirl.
Okay, well, so here's my thought on that, because like I absolutely loved that moment too. Like, it was wonderful to see the positive, impact that he's having on his people. The other thing I was thinking of, as just we were talking and as you were saying, all these things, Stephanie, is that I really hope we don't get another Game of Thrones moment here with Daenerys. So the entire series, because we still have several chapters left. The entire series, Daenerys like sparked hope in a lot of people. She was somebody that everybody looked up to, that she was a leader. She was gonna, reclaim her throne and, create this like wonderful kingdom again. She was making hard choices that she didn't want to make, but she thought were good for the people. Like she's doing a lot of what Ellen is doing now. So I hope that Sanderson doesn't do to Ellen what, what is his name? R.R. Martin did to Daenerys, because like that would really leave me absolutely devastated. Like,
Well, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that it was the showrunner's fault because The Winds of Winter has not yet been published.
and he's never going to publish it.
No, don't say that.
I just hope Sanderson leaves my dude alone. Like, please leave my man alone. That's all I'm going to say. And I've been saying that for like a few episodes now.
I know.
Let him be this good man that he is.
Leave Ellen alone.
Please.
Yeah.
I will not read another Sanderson book if he messes with Ellen. I will tell you that right
Oh
now.
my God.
Those are strong words.
I know.
So, okay, so that concludes our 2 character moments. So that brings us to our last segment, which is our one theory
Yay.
and or prediction.
I'm so excited
because
for this.
sometimes we do both. So,
Or really
Ethan.
long ones.
Yeah. Or maybe how about 2 theories, which
sure,
is
why
what
not?
I
Let's
might
go.
have.
Okay.
Okay, so my first theory is over the Mistfallen. Is this a way that preservation is trying to fight back? Because we've assumed it's ruin because it causes death, right? But is this really preservation? Is preservation creating those that are Mistfallen? Could this be like a mass snap event where it's creating mistings or Mistborn? And 16 keeps on coming up over and over and over again. Is 16 linked to the metals? Like, are there 16 burnable metals?
Okay. Yeah.
Could that be tied to this somehow? And if those that manifest, if they do in fact manifest Mistborn allomantic ability, are there going to be certain numbers of mistings in each metal area? Like that's what I
Okay.
started thinking about, like even more percentage wise, right? It's like,
Mhm.
because everything is very regimented, 16%, right? So that's my first theory.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
My second one is to do with Vin.
Okay.
Again, she could not be the hero of ages, but I still think she might be, okay?
Okay.
And it all hinges on the idea that she released Ruin.
Mm-hmm.
She came in contact with that power,
Mm-hmm.
right, of the well.
It touched her, yeah.
But she just chose to release it instead of keeping it like Reshek did.
Mm-hmm.
In that interaction, did she actually figure out how to do this? And she is just a really good actress. And everything that we're coming up against is a plan that she's maybe laid out. And because she keeps on saying, trust me, trust me, trust me. Is this all like, could Vin actually be masterminding something here to where like, is the epigraph actually Vin? And it's just slowly releasing information to get us to that realization that,
Right,
you know,
she
this
can't
has been,
say
this
it
has
out
been
loud.
right.
It's a good
Okay.
I
thought,
don't know.
too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. 2 really good ones.
Yeah. So the first one, I mean, it could make sense that preservation is trying to help because he's not killing those Mistfallen. He's actually just making them sick, right? Not killing them off, but then they're still able to get back on their feet, even if it is a little after
Yeah.
the others.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be interested to see if that's what happens.
Yeah.
So
And
we'll see.
They
faith
haven't
could still
tested
play a
that,
part in that.
So, right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because, like, earlier when we were talking about the Mistfallen, Ellen made the connection that, at least Mew, he's like very devout. And so, maybe it's the opposite of what people are thinking. It's striking
being
at
blessed.
the people who are, yeah. But like blessed with what? And we haven't tested them out yet to see if they snapped because of the mist. So
True.
that, that's a good theory.
And there have been mentions about Kelsier. Like they keep bringing up the fact that Kelsier kept saying that the mists are friendly to the Mistborn or the Mistings,
Mhm.
right? And that's why he was
Right.
never scared of them. So like
Yeah.
they could be foreshadowing that that's what could happen. Okay,
Mhm.
Ethan, look at you. Okay,
Now that my internet finally worked.
Yes.
it's working. We're almost done.
Yeah, it's
Hold
working
tight.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so my theory / prediction, I don't know, it's a really long one, but here's what I think. So there wasn't a lot of Tansoon chapters, but there was one
Mhm.
that made me think back of an earlier chapter, and so I kind of went digging for this theory. So this first contract is being mentioned a lot, right? Not sure if it's to sidetrack us, causing us to fixate so much on it, or if there's something here. And there's also a lot of talk on balance. We've been talking about that. Back in chapter 11, like I went back to every chapter to find this epigraph. It explained what the first contract was. It said it was originally a series of promises made by the first generation to the Lord Ruler. So it basically created the Khandra laws. And then it also said that the first contract contained a provision which, if invoked, would require the mass suicide of the entire Khandra people. Then in chapter 39, after Tensoon made his escape, he was thinking to himself, the first contract was a set of instructions, actions to take when the world began to fail. I bolded that, actions to take when the world began to fail. So, not just ceremony and not just metaphor, he knew that its contents frightened some of the Khandra. For them, it was better for the first contract to be a philosophical thing, abstract thing, for if it were still concrete, still relevant, it would require great sacrifices of them. So in chapter 11, it talked about the mass suicide. Here it's talking about a great sacrifice. So I think the mass suicide of the entire Khandra people could help reset this balance that in turn could help trap Ruin again, because it was also mentioned that he was freed because of an imbalance, right? So maybe that's why the Khandra people won't help, and that's why they refuse to let the secret out, because it would mean the end of them. Or even better yet, destroy everything that's been created by Hemalurgy, the Koloss, the Inquisitors, the Khandra, since it requires so much sacrifice and death of others to create them. So I'm like, is that the answer to defeating Ruin, by creating balance again, by taking out the Hemalurgy and keeping just Elemency and Ferukami? Because this third thing is throwing off the balance. If we just keep Elemency and Ferukami, then we would have a balance, right? I mean, that's what I was thinking when I was reading this.
Okay.
Thoughts?
I mean, clearly there's something that the Khandra are avoiding. So,
Right.
It would stand to reason it would be something massive like mass suicide.
Well, yes, I agree. So would that, like you were saying, would their demise power, since they come from the mist, right? Would their demise power more of preservation? Would it give more boost to preservation? Because they are of the mist. And so, they're going, I'm just confirming, like trying to think it in my head and make sense of it too. Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I champion. Yes.
I was like, in the middle of the night, coming up with this. I'm like, oh my God, I know there was like an epigraph on the first contract and it talked about the mass suicide. I was like, let me go back to see what chapter it was on. And then I was like, taking that and then taking exactly what Tensoon was saying, actions that have to take when the world began to fail. Like, this is what's happening now, right? And the fact that they're refusing to help, like, of course I wouldn't wipe out my own people, right? Especially with like how high and mighty they think of themselves.
Yeah. And maybe they think that they can like get away from that obligation because the Lord Ruler is now dead.
Right.
Like, remember, Tensoon has told them the Lord Ruler is dead, but the contract is now with Vin, but they don't seem to want to accept Vin.
Yeah.
Because then they would be held to the contract.
So I feel like Kingdom of Ash here, where we were all waiting for Alan to get to Terrasen, and here I'm waiting for freaking Tensoon to catch up with Vin.
Yeah.
Like, I need you to get together, please.
Like, let's go. She needs to know these things.
Please and thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Great job, both of you guys.
Yeah.
Connecting some dots.
Trying to, at least.
Okay, so I have not been sharing theories because, as you know, I've already read this series and finished this book, so I don't want to sway you guys. So I'm sharing a question. My question this time around is, now that we know Ruin can influence people through Hemalurgy, who are you most worried about being under Ruin's control?
Ellen, 100%.
Okay.
We literally just talked about how much positive influence he has on his people and his soldiers and everybody who follows him. Like, if he were to be under Ruin's influence, like, that's all pretty much effed up. Like, there goes the entire kingdom. He's been trying so hard to keep it together. He's the last piece, basically. That's what I think. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see him as being under Ruin's control right now, but if he were, that would be disastrous. The ones that are currently under Ruin's influence right now, the most I'm concerned with is Spook, because I think right now he so wants to do a good job, and
Yeah.
and Ruin is preying on that. He wants to
Right.
be useful, and Ruin is going to use that to his advantage, and I think that
Right.
storyline has the real potential to be tragic.
Okay.
And I hope maybe that could be what finally snaps Sazed out of his depression and saying, "Hey, no, you snap out of it here, and like let me pull this little pin
Right.
out of you because
Yeah.
it's no
Yeah.
good."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're right. I don't think that Ellen is under his control. I think that that's who I'm afraid, like if he were under his control, that's what I was afraid that would happen. Because, like,
Okay.
obviously it was mentioned that they're trying to get him under Ruin's control, but they haven't been successful. So I'm just
Yeah.
really
Right.
scared with like everything happening, like all this chaos happening, that he's gonna like fall vulnerable, especially with Vin being trapped, to a moment where he could possibly,
Like everything would collapse if they
Yeah.
did spike him.
absolutely, yeah.
Well, yeah, especially with
Yeah.
Vin being separated right now, like the dominoes are falling perfectly for this to happen.
I know. Stop it.
Right.
Leave him
Oh my
alone,
gosh.
please.
Yeah. I guess like if I were to pick who I would most be worried about right now, I'm thinking Yeoman, because if he's under Ruin's control, like then there is no way they're gonna get him to turn around and like, bow to Ellen, and that is the last thing that they need right now is to like take control of Fadrex and then like march everybody back to the central dominance, get Luthadel
Yeah.
back under control, and like hunker down. So I think that would be my answer. We haven't confirmed that Yeoman is spiked or not or under Ruin's influence, but he's like obviously very much against Ellen taking control. So who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the end of part 3 of our series on the Hero of Ages.
Yay. Okay, book friends, that was the end of our third deep dive on The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. Let's keep the discussion going. We are at Books Between Friends Pod on all platforms. Thank you for interacting with us on our socials. We look forward to chatting with you all about this book.
Yay. Okay, on our next episode, you guys, we've uncovered some massive secrets, but the biggest answers are still ahead of us. Join us next time as we dive into chapters 51 through 67 and continue unraveling the mysteries of Ruin, Hemalurgy, and the Hero of Ages. Dun dun dun!
That's a wrap for Books Between Friends today. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next chapter.